Hey everybody, my name is Pete Springer, and thanks to Outskirts Press, I can now say I am a self-published author. In my working career, I was an elementary teacher for 31 years. I taught in grades 2 through 6 in California. When I retired about 2 years ago, I had lots of free time on my hands, and one of the things I decided to do was to write a book about my life as a teacher. I wanted to write a book that would be helpful for teachers in the future, young teachers or those teachers that are in college. So I worked on my book for probably about a year, and when I thought it was publish worthy, I started to look at options about publishing it. And I decided to go with the self-publishing route. And so I did a lot of research online, and I found Outskirts Press, and I thought this is going to be a good match for me. And it has been. So let me tell you about my experience with them. So first I set up a phone conference with Tina, one of the representatives from Outskirts, and we kind of got to know each other and where I wanted to go with my project. She presented the different options that I could choose from. And so that was really nice because, you know, they really tried to tailor a package for my needs. So I decided to go with them. And by the way, that was only a $35 commitment, in which case, if you decide to go with them, then that $35 goes towards the package. So that was a big selling point, not a big investment. So they sent me contracts, and I was off and running. Read through them. Everything seemed laid out pretty well, and I sent those back, and I was assigned an author representative. Her name was Jamie, and she was a superstar in this whole thing for me. She answered so many of my questions. You know, I'm an educated guy, but this is all brand new stuff for me. And so lots of times I would send her emails, and she'd always answer me before the end of the day. Sometimes I'd call her on the phone. She was so helpful. She guided me throughout the whole process. So after 3 months, I had my book, which I'm going to show you right now. It's called They Call Me Mom, and it's definitely geared for new teachers. And so Jamie helped me with all kinds of things. I want you to understand that you are still the owner of the entire project, but you can ask for advice. So she helped with the cover, she helped with the back of the book. I chose my own picture. I wrote the copy for information I wanted to include about myself, about my book. I wanted to include a testimonial from my last principal. And I also want to point out on the back cover here, there's an ISBN, which then is kind of like registers your book. So when I walk into any bookstore, they can just scan that and find out who published the book, how much it costs, etc. So I'm really pleased with it. It's 177 pages. I really think they did a fabulous job. I think it just looks very professional. Gotten so many compliments on it, and I've been really happy with it. So after you're done publishing a book, of course you want some people to read your book. So then I went back to Outskirts again, because they can help you with the marketing aspect of your book. And so again, I started first with a phone call, and I decided, yes, I'm going to buy the package where I get 5 hours of personal marketing assistance. And so I talked to an individual, and kind of explained where I wanted to go, some of my ideas for marketing. She threw out some ideas of her own, and she ended up writing a wonderful marketing plan for me. And that's been my guide all the way along here. I do want you to know, if you're selling your own book, especially since you're self-publishing, you really do, you have to be brave, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And I knew I had that in me. I believed in myself, I believe in my book, and I knew I could get myself out there, and I have. So I'm going to tell you about some of the events I've done. I did my back to school night. I went back to my old school. It was just a really special night. I had former students come back to buy my book, parents who I taught, in some cases, 3 or 4 of their kids. It was just a really wonderful night. I gave a talk at the county library, and I talked about my life as a teacher, but also how Outskirts helped me with self-publishing. I thought that would be of interest to some people. Lately, one of the last things I did was I spoke at a retired teachers luncheon, and teachers are also supportive of one another, so that was great, and I sold a lot of books there. I contacted the newspaper. The newspaper wrote a wonderful article about my book, so I was very pleased with that. I went back to my alma mater, Humboldt State. I actually spoke in an education class there to prospective teachers. All of those were really positive experiences for me. So at some of these events, of course, it's nice to have some materials to give out to the people that are listening to you. So I'm going to show you some of those things. So in addition to my books, I have bookmarks made. I don't know if you can see this, I'm hoping you can, but on the front of the bookmark is my book, and on the back is the information on the back of the book. And then I had some business cards made. Again, on the front is my book cover. On the back is personal information, how to contact me. So that was a really great thing. I had Outskirts make me some posters. So when you have an event, you can get some publicity ahead of time. For example, at the library, the library let me put these up. So I had a fairly good crowd that night. It was nice to get some attention ahead of time. I even had a shirt made with my book on it. Now I'm not really the kind of guy that likes to bring a lot of attention to himself, so I can't say I've actually worn this. This is more of a keepsake for me. But on the front is my book cover. On the back of the shirt is the back of my book. So I think this is pretty cool. So I'm glad I picked it up, even if I don't ever wear it. And so, how are things going? You probably are wondering. Well, I have to say the marketing I've done is really paying off. So tell you quickly about some of my success stories. After appearing at the Retired Teachers Luncheon, they are now buying some of my books to give out to new teachers in the area, which I'm really proud of. One of my former superintendents, he read my book and liked it so much that he bought 24 books for the new teachers in his district. Lots of the local bookstores are selling my book now. Humboldt State, my alma mater, is the latest one. I'm really proud of that they're housing my book in the bookstore. And then, of course, online at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Outskirts Press. I'm particularly proud of the attention I'm getting on Amazon. I encourage you to go to Amazon and look for my book. They Call Me Mom, Pete Springer, and I've got some just wonderful reviews written by some people I know, some former teachers I worked with, some parents, some students I taught, but then people I don't even know that have picked up my book and really enjoy it. I think the last count I have 14 5-star ratings, so I'm getting a lot of positive attention and reinforcement. So not only do I think it's a worthwhile book, but other people in the community do too, and throughout the world. So thank you, Outskirts Press. I really want to just say thank you for helping me realize my goal and become an author. And I'm not done. I'm moving on now to try to write some children's books. So look for me out there. Thank you so much.